Good evening, Navika. First of all, welcome back. As they say, people recover from COVID, but a tough Punjabi that you are, COVID is recovering from you. So well done.
Thank you.
There are a couple of points I want to make.
Know if they are get well wishes, best wishes, or are you taking a dig at me?
If you're above 18, you can also get a free vaccine.
No, not at all.
But thank you very much. Yes,
absolutely
good
fantastic
to be back.
To see you back. And I was complimenting your Punjabiyat. At completely thrashed COVID.
Yes, absolutely.
That's true. No, there are a couple of issues here, and I think. And I think I would like to take a couple of minutes to actually elaborate on both, because both are important. One is dynasty and the other is the Lankan crisis. As you say, Navika, it is a tragedy that while Sri Lankans are wishing their country was India, some Indians are wishing their country was Sri Lanka. Nations recover, haters don't. That is the thing that we need to remember. And if we look at Sri Lanka, why on earth would anyone, leave alone an economist, believe that India is going the Lankan way? You look at the debt to GDP ratio. In Sri Lanka, it was 120. But that's not all. A series of catastrophic events come together to make this so-called perfect storm, where nations go into this abyss. India went into this abyss in 1991. Our GDP to debt to GDP ratio at that point of time was 50%. And yet, our forex was not even $1 billion. Sri Lanka is at least $2 billion. We were $0.6 billion. We mortgaged our gold. We loaded it onto the ships and it was about to reach the Bank of England. So the things were that dire. But we recovered, didn't we? The point with Lanka is that 3 or 4 things have happened at the same time. This dead assets, China financing 10% of their debt, organic farming, 3 or 4 other decisions that have led to the crisis. India is nowhere near those crises. If you look at our inflation, if you look at all the other countries, for example, France's debt to GDP ratio is 120% more than Lanka. Japan is 270%. Do you mean to say Japan is going the Lankan way? No, it doesn't happen like that. 3 or 4 decisions come together. And this is where I come to the second issue, which is the dynasty. The problem with India is that one can never be sure if India is going to go that way or not. I say right now it won't. But if you look at what we have been doing, we are also in this freebie culture, aren't we? In fact, if you look at Bengal's debt to GDP ratio, it's almost 41%. Same with Punjab. Now, every party is for freebies. But at the same time, nobody wants to improve our capacity. Nobody wants to improve our capacity to generate more and more GDP. Nobody wants reforms. Nobody wants farm reform. Nobody wants privatization. And yet, we want to keep on giving this freebie culture. What happened in Lanka is directly tied to the dynasty. Yeah, Navika, just 1 minute, because now I come to the other issue. You see, it's never about dynasty alone, but rather how deep-rooted it is. Every political party is infected with this disease. 45 current BJP MPs and more than 92 BJP MLAs have dynastic linkages. And the BJP's defense that theirs are the one-generation linkages, unlike the dendritic linkages of the Congress and regional parties, is thin, to be honest. Because even one-generation dynasty linkage can endow nepotism, preferential, non-meritorious advantage and privilege, and can and does take away the opportunity of a non-dynast candidate. Remember, in politics, first mover advantage is everything. And 2, this is classic case of moral relativism trying to rationalize your hypocrisy. That said, Congress is special. Just 30 seconds, because the fire lit by the erstwhile Congress Zamindars, Navika, has singed the minds of their progeny so completely that nothing grows on that charred landscape except entitlement. Let me illustrate the damage it causes with just one example. 20 seconds. Here are the last census indices of Amethi and Raebareli, the Nehru-Gandhi dynasty bastions for 60 years. People below poverty line, 54%. Households with electricity, 14%. Vaccinated children, 16%. National deaths, 83 per thousand. For India, it was 28. This is what the dynasty reduced Amethi and Raebareli to.